In my speaking clubs, I expose my students to diverse topics, which has been really helpful in enhancing not only their English speaking skills, but also their ability to generate relevant ideas. For example, in my June speaking club, we cover topics like taxes, workplace diversity, self-improvement, and paternity leave. In this video, I'll explain how my students practice their English speaking skills in my speaking clubs so that you can take advantage of the same strategy even if you're not a member of my speaking clubs. As a beginner in English, your goal might be to talk about yourself, your best friend, your favorite food, your hobbies, and other simple topics in English. But if you're an intermediate learner aiming to achieve an excellent command of English, you can't be satisfied with simple, basic topics. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and explore more challenging topics that interest you. And I'm not saying that you have to practice talking about very complex subjects like evolution, wars, religion, etc. I'm saying that, for example, you're really passionate about psychology and you genuinely love talking about psychology in your native language, but you find it challenging to talk about it in English, and then you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Read about psychology in English. Learn commonly used psychology-related expressions to be able to talk about it in English. And it's daunting, I know. I've seen my students feel anxious every time they are introduced to a topic that they've never talked about in English. But after reading or listening more about it, learning relevant vocabulary and practicing, their fears diminish. And I personally used to avoid talking about sports in English because I thought I wouldn't be able to generate any ideas. I'm not a huge fan. And I thought that even if I had ideas, I wouldn't be able to express them in English because I didn't have any vocabulary related to sports. But then I pushed myself out of my comfort zone and practiced discussing it multiple times. So remember that things only seem scary until you become familiar with them. When practicing your speaking skills, whether in a group or with a speaking partner, it's important to take time to prepare yourself mentally for the discussion. I allow my students to take at least 6 minutes before participating in a discussion so that they can generate ideas, gather their thoughts, and think about how to structure them into sentences in English. I also allow them to use ChatGPT if they're struggling with generating ideas, but I don't really recommend copying word for word. So this way, they develop a habit of organizing their key ideas and thoughts before starting a discussion, which can help them feel calmer and more prepared. You can adjust the amount of time as you see fit, but in my speaking clubs, we have 3 practice sessions each week, with each session lasting 2 hours. And in a world where people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, my students stay focused on a particular topic for 2 hours, exploring and delving deeper and deeper into it. So it doesn't really matter how much time you allocate, but once you start practicing your English speaking skills, focus your attention on it. When there are constant distractions, they're going to hinder not only your ability to speak English, but also your ability to think critically and generate ideas. So you've got to minimize distractions as much as possible and concentrate on understanding a topic better and talking about it in English. I've seen great results and steady progress in students who've participated in my speaking clubs for 3 months or more. If you don't live in an English-speaking country, you've got to look for opportunities to use your English skills and advance them further by exploring varied topics and putting yourself in somewhat demanding situations.